Hey guys, haven't made a video in a little while. Haven't had much to video about with all the COVID and stuff, but today I have a little trip planned. Gonna go look at an airplane. I was playing around with a friend of mine in his decathlon the other day, and we've been thinking about decathlons, Citabrias, those kind of things. I'd like to make it a surprise, but it's gonna be in the title anyways. So I'm gonna hop in the plane, run out there. The plane's gonna be outside, social distance to the max, wearing masks, trying not to get any cross-contamination of anything. But we're just going to look at it. Fun little two-seater. I don't know if you've followed the history at all of the channel, but I went and looked at the Cherokee with Quinn years ago, and then we bought the Cherokee. And then we went and looked at the Cirrus, and then we ended up buying the Cirrus. Then I went and looked at the 150. And then we did buy that one too. It's right here. And today I'm just looking at a Citabria. I'm just looking. I mean, we're probably not going to buy it. But we are going to look at it and making a video. And so far, we're 3 for 3 with airplanes that we made videos about. We tend not to go look unless we're pretty serious and done some research ahead of time. So come along, take you on the flight, and I'll check out a different airplane. I don't think we're going to fly it just because of the COVID stuff. I don't want to, ask the guy to go up and be in an enclosed space with me. But we'll check it out anyways, see what the fabric looks like, check out the logbooks, and come on along. Oh, I also want to show you something real quick. I have a heater up here on the wall, right up there. It's not turned on yet though, but I do have a system in the wintertime. A lot of people have heaters. They heat up the engine oil, or they heat up the cylinders and the engine oil, and that's all great. But it's kind of sketchy if you leave it plugged in all winter. What I have here is a product. This is an older one. This is by Aerotherm. It's a heater with a thermostat, and if you see, you set the temperature right on the dial. The one on the right sucks in the air from the cowling, and the one on the left, it blows it back up in there. So it circulates the air. It's really efficient because the air is always a little bit warm. It's hard to get this straight from the side here, but it turns on and off on a thermostat, and you keep the engine wherever you want. I usually keep it at 60 degrees. I just came out for a flight, so I cranked it all the way up. And it was running here a minute ago, but it's pretty warm in there. But it's nice because it's just warm air. It's super efficient. It costs about $1 a day to run this. So for $30 a month, you could keep your whole engine compartment nice and toasty warm. And it's really the best way to do it, I think. You're not going to cook any oil to the bottom, of the drain pan or anything. And I put a little sleeping bag over it just to keep as much in as possible, make it work a little more efficiently. But we've loved this thing. We got this when we got the Cirrus. The previous owner used it, and we're still using it today. So that's an option for you. The company is Aerotherm. And this is an older unit, but they have these maybe like $500 or so. As a comparison, take a look at the whole hangar here. It's a pretty big hangar. To heat this will be in the wintertime about $140 a month, $150 depending on the outside temperature. That, or you could just heat what's important to heat, and that's your engine. And that's about $30 a month. So it's pretty efficient. That's all. We'll get her fired up, get going.
All right, guys, got the 150 fired up. This camera angle's not the best. I forgot one of my little connectors to make the angle go right, so I've got the camera kind of far away, but I think it'll still work. Had my student just come back from a solo cross country. Got another one getting ready to go for their check ride here in the next couple weeks, hopefully. The weather's been so horrible, though. We've just had gusty winds like you can't believe every day, rain, all kinds of horrible stuff. I go out with Maddie the other night. We had a little break in the weather. We did a little time in the woods, if you know what I mean. We actually have a neat little video of that, of Maddie actually harvesting her first buck. That upsets a lot of people. But it's just meat, meat in the freezer, experience with the kids. We might post that video, we might not. We're kind of up in the air. Let me know. Give me a comment. You want to see Maddie hunting and getting her first buck ever after she's been hunting for 5 years? She really put the time in. Not so much this year. This year I did all the scouting. And she just kind of walked into the field, and after a couple hours, opportunity presented itself. So let me know if you want to see that. Maddie's super busy. She has her channel going, but not doing much. She's working right now, plus finishing up her last semester of college. The girl's just going all day, every day. So I'd like to see her make some more content because she's adorable. Getting a little cold here today. It's about 40 degrees when I came to the airport. Like I said, I hooked up the aerotherm heater, so the inside of the engine bay was plenty warm. I put it at 60 degrees, but I got it this morning. I just cranked it up to like max just to really get everything. Then I even plugged in the oil pan heater as well, just for half an hour. That usually does help. Like I get in, I'm already indicating oil temperature, which you don't want to do your run up or takeoff if you're not indicating any oil temperature. It's really hard on the motor. We're going to come down here, do a little run up. We'll be on our way. It's a short flight where I'm going to, just running up to Kenosha, 34 miles away. Even the 150 can knock that out pretty quickly. So I'm going to do the run up, and we'll be right back. Landings traffic, Cessna 154 is departing runway 13, departing to the northeast. Landings. Got ourselves all set up. It's funny, I never get to fly anymore. It's always letting Quinn or Maddie or some of my other friends fly. Very rare that I get to go. All right, hopefully you got a good view. You got a view out the back. I'll give you a view out the front for the landing. Go full power. Got good RPMs, oil temperature, oil pressure, good. Through about 55 knots, general rotation. All right, we're flying. All the air conditioning vents open. Let's close those. Great day to fly. I have to give you guys a better view than this in a second here. Let's switch frequencies. We're flying right over another airport on the way here, so I always like to tune them in. It's really poor form to fly right over an airport just above pattern altitude and not talk to anybody.
Traffic Warrior 4627 Foxtrot Final 8, Lake in the Hills.
That's the airport we're talking about, Lake in the Hills. Lake in the Hills traffic, Cessna 154 is 5 miles to the southwest, be overflying the field at 2400, heading to the northeast, Lake in the Hills. All right, you guys trying to pick up some ATIS for Kenosha?
Initial contact, you have Kilo.
Ooh, it's a little staticky.
Kenosha Airport information, Kilo 1553 Zulu weather, wind 3605, visibility 10, sky clear. Temperature 6, dew point 0, altimeter 3026. Visual approaching use, landing departing runway 3378. Notice Chairman, runway 7 up 258 antics, way off for close until further advised. Advise initial contact, you have Kilo. Kenosha Airport.
Boy, that was staticky. Landed 3-3 and 7 right, runway 7 left at Kenosha is closed. So, that's what we expected. Yeah, it's a little ill-advised. A couple videos ago, we got rid of one of our airplanes, the Cirrus, which was kind of a nice plane. Might be coming up for sale again, actually. The guy just hasn't flown it. He bought it, hasn't hardly flown it. I looked at doing that again, but then I have a friend of mine who bought a Cirrus, a newer one. And I'm kind of teaching him how to fly it, and because I'm teaching him how to fly it, he's allowing me to borrow it sometimes. So maybe a borrowed Cirrus would be a good idea for a while. But a Citabria, especially going with 2 or 3 guys, if you want to talk money, this is a 1960s vintage Citabria, middle to upper 30,000-ish. So it's, you know, maybe just over a little 10,000 a guy. You buy a fun little airplane. I know a lot of people say, oh, that's a lot of money. That is a lot of money. But it's, in the world of airplanes, to own an airplane that'll do what a Citabria will do for $10,000 or $12,000 for a third of it, that's as economical as you're going to get. And there's not much maintenance to it. This one's got an 0235 engine in it, which means it's the same engine as in a Cessna 152. 115 horsepower, doesn't burn a lot of gas, very economical. Could also do some spin training in it, teach the kids what happens if you go upside down. That's valuable stuff. When I was a new flight instructor, I had doing some accelerated stalls, had a person put me upside down. It was the first time I was ever upside down, basically, and I was in charge. So you don't want that to be the case. You want to have some experience doing it if it's going to happen to you. And it's not that big a deal if you know what you're doing. So, like I said, we got about 20 miles to go. Heading up to look at this plane. It looks pretty cool, though. I have a couple rules with airplanes when I buy them. I've mentioned before. I want the engine to be overhauled kind of recently at a reputable shop. lower time. This one kind of breaks the rules on that. This engine was overhauled back in the 80s, is what I'm understanding. And it's got about 1,400 hours, but it's good to about 2,400. So I consider it a mid-time engine, but man, it's an old overhaul. A couple schools of thought. I've had so many friends get, and people that I know, acquaintances, get airplanes with recent overhauls and had nothing but problems recently. Continental Motors, bought out by a Chinese conglomerate. I think they're starting to do stuff just as efficiently as possible because the Chinese people are very efficient people. And in that, sometimes they take a shortcut, go a little cheap on things. Still charging you $40,000 for the engine on that some of those airplanes, but they've gone a little cheap and had some problems. I don't know. So I'm starting to think maybe a tried-true engine that's been running for 30 years, had good compressions and good oil analysis, maybe that's a better bet than spending the money and having an airplane with an engine that we just got from China. I don't know. Like I said, a couple schools of thought. You go with the tried-true engine, or you get a brand new engine. When we were looking at Cirrus's, I had a guy, we looked at a Cirrus out on the East Coast, and he put a brand new engine in this plane. Had it overhauled at Triad. And a year later, Triad's a pretty good shop. A year later, his compressions were all in the 60s. I don't know if you know 80 is a perfect compression. My old Cherokee, I had every annual, I'd be 78, 79 on all my cylinders. Continentals typically don't hold compression that well, but this was really low. He was in the mid to low 60s on his compressions. And he was not satisfied after spending almost $40,000, on a new engine. So what they told him is they used to take the valve openings and hand lap them, which means by hand make sure they're really well formed to the valves, give you a nice tight seal on the engine, good compression. They said, look, they're not doing that anymore. They're trying to save money. So he had them pull off all 6 cylinders and do them right, put them back together, and then a year later his engine was running great still. But it seems like you shouldn't have to do that. Other problems with cylinders, many friends had them. Had a friend of mine do a pretty expensive overhaul on his Aero. Pulled all the cylinders off that after a year as well. I don't know what's going on with the new engines. They're starting to make me nervous. But this one's been running. We'll see. Always when you get an airplane, you do a pre-buy inspection. We're going to have them do the compression check, but also do boroscope the engine, look for pitting. A lot of times these little aerobatic planes end up sitting. People don't fly them as much as they thought. They sit around, they rust up. So we're going to be real careful checking for that as well. Check the fabric. Fabric nowadays, Seekonite, if done well, if a hangar, could last indefinitely. But we're going to see if this one is in that kind of shape or if it's sat outside for a while. That's going to make a big difference too. So, like I said, I know I'm kind of contradicting myself after getting rid of the second airplane, but with some partners and an economical airplane, if my kids have a good time flying the Citabria, I really don't need 2 little 2-seaters. Maybe the 150 will go. So, let me know if anybody's looking for a pretty awesome 150 that's running great, 500 hours on the engine. Thing's been perfect. We flew this thing hard this year too. I think I have almost 100 hours on this 150 in the first 10 months of 2020. And that's kind of a lot for small airplanes. Not for some of you guys. But anyways, we got about 18 miles to go to Kenosha. I think I'm going to try and turn the camera around here and give you a better view than just looking at me. That's no fun. But I'll update you again in a little bit. Alright guys, we're about 10 miles to the southwest of Kenosha, so I'll let you in on the little call up so you can hear all the excitement of talking to air traffic control.
Helicopter 83.
Kenosha Tower, Cessna 63154 is 9 miles to the southwest, inbound for landing with Kilo.
Cessna 154, can I start your position again, please?
Yes sir, we're about 8.5 miles to the southwest.
Cessna 154, report left base runway 33, verify information Lima.
Report the left base for 33, and we'll pick up Lima for 154.
Sorry, 40 November Tower, you on?
That's affirmative.
All right, we kind of wanted 7 right. Just a lot shorter
40 November,
taxi.
stop right there. Contact ground 121.875.
21875.
Maybe I'll ask her for 7 right. And Kenosha Tower, Cessna 154. Any chance 7 right? It's a little closer to where we're going.
154 affirmative. Report a 2-mile final runway 7 right.
Report a 2-mile final for 7 right, Cessna 154. Well, he was agreeable to that request. Very nice. Kind of screaming in here at 85 knots. This camera gets real quiet too. It's a great microphone. but it's also so good that there's no engine noise if I'm not talking, and it's kind of eerie, so I've been adding some background noise too. All right, I'm in the white arc. Start introducing some flaps to our situation.
Cessna 154, safe parking.
Yeah, we're going to a hangar kind of just east of the firehouse off Delta, I think.
Okay, you can turn right and then taxi as requested and just monitor ground on the way in.
Right turn and monitor ground on the way in, 154.
All right, so here's walking around the plane. The right wing looks pretty good. The left wing, if you notice, it's kind of chalky. Looking at the logbooks, found out that it had been in an accident. The right wing had been redone. And this is where things start falling apart. If you look at the cracking all over the white paint, notice it's only on the white paint though. But it's really cracking badly. Trying to determine if it's a fabric problem or if it's just a paint problem. It almost looks like a paint problem. But here again, that just looks awful. I mean, that would have to be addressed and fixed. You start talking about fixing fabric like that and fixing the paint on fabric, that could really get pricey in a hurry. Left-hand side, you'll see again, look at the close-up on the wings. See a lot of spider webbing right there. Doesn't look great. Lots of cracks. This is not what I wanted to see when I went and looked at this plane today. Yeah, just issues. Some guys out there might be fabric guys. You might be thinking this is no big deal. And you might be right. I just don't want a chance having to put fabric on a plane. So everything's kind of falling apart at this point. We looked at the engine. That's why the cowling's open. Here's a couple of shots to look at again. Just you could pause if you want. Tell me what you think. Is that no big deal? Is that something you could fix cheaply and quickly? Because I kind of think not. That one's really ugly. So there you go. All right, guys. Neat little airplane. Some cracks though in the paint, right? Lots of cracks. I don't know if that affects the fabric or it doesn't. Or if it doesn't, I just don't know. So we're gonna have to look into it further. Kind of bummed out. Plane I thought was gonna be great, perfect. We got a little Blue Benny here though, up here in Kenosha. Guess we're gonna head back and do some thinking about it. I need to talk to a mechanic, have him look at the fabric. If it's just paint, you know, if it's just the paint's cracking, I guess it's not a big deal. But if you have to put fabric on one of these planes, $15,000, $20,000, $25,000. So the plane's priced appropriately. But if the fabric's no good, now I'm upside down. It's almost like putting an engine in it. You gotta have good fabric, gotta have a good engine. You don't want to be that person that puts the engine and the fabric in the thing. So look at that plane over there. It's like an old Russian plane or something. Oh, I can't zoom in this angle, but it's right there. That's pretty cool. Like a biplane. I'll turn the camera, I'll get you a better shot. Anyways, not too far of a trip. I've looked at a lot of airplanes around the country before. I've been told a lot of things, and most of the time when you show up to look at a plane, it's not what they said. The Cirrus had some problems with the logbook. I've had other planes that had horrible paint corrosion. So people say anything, think they're going to sell it to you, and you show up and it's something different. So that's why I don't travel unless I'm serious. I was serious about this one. I didn't have to travel that far. Still might be. We'll see. Is that big? I believe that's a Russian biplane. Somebody help me out in the comments, will you? What is that? 4-blade prop monster airplane. Pretty cool.
Kenosha ground, Cessna 63154, south ramp, like to taxi for a southwest departure. We have Mike.
63154, Kenosha ground, runway 7 right, taxi via Charlie.
Charlie to 7 right, 63154. All right, so a little bit of a bust on that plane. I don't know if it's a big deal. You guys saw the cracks and the paint and stuff. It's just on the white part, so it does seem to follow that it's a paint problem, not a fabric problem. So the problem I have is I want to take people for rides in my airplane. They pull up, and it looks like the fabric's all cracking apart. That doesn't instill a lot of confidence, right? I don't want to scare anybody. I don't want people to be afraid to fly with me. So, yeah, a little bummed out. We'll see, though. Kenosha Tower, Cessna 154 is ready for departure on 7 right.
154, Kenosha Tower, runway 7 right, clear for takeoff. Traffic is a light sport turning right base.
Clear for takeoff, 7 right, Cessna 154. Take a peek this way, I see nobody. Everything's looking good, engine instruments are in the green. Power's good, pressure and temperature are all good. 55, rotate, let's kind of hold it there. A little bit of a crosswind, look at this crab angle we're going to have. It's climbing like a champ today.
154, right downwind departure to the southwest is approved.
Right downwind departure, southwest departure approved, 154.
Port 747 Juliet Delta, we're going to return north for receipt.
Ooh, man.
Juliet Delta, Roger, northbound approved.
You guys see that seagull?
Northbound approved, frequency change approved. You have a good afternoon.
He looked like he was flying about as fast as me. Oh man, I hope you saw that. That was pretty cool. Big seagull, he dove and I climbed. I'm not the biggest thing in the sky, but I'm going to win a fight with him every time. I actually did get the bird. It's right there in the upper left, flapping his wings. This is slow motion. Now you're going to see him start turning and going down right there. So, yeah, I've got like I said, I got a partner in that airplane. Sent him some pictures. We might send a fabric guy over. Like I said, I repeat myself, but really bummed out. That plane looks so great, and the guy's a good guy, but he did not mention that he had some severe paint cracking issues all over his fabric. And he has another contract. This is another thing you'll deal with, other competing bidders. He's got a contract with a guy from the East Coast, and that guy really wants it. I'm like, yeah, but the conversation's going to change when he sees the plane. And all that cracking that you don't think is a big deal that you didn't mention all of a sudden is evident. That contract's going to fall apart. So what do? You could lowball the guy, so he'll give you 20 grand for the plane instead of 37. Not going to go for that. I certainly don't want to be a guy to put a fabric on a plane unless I got it almost for free and I was just doing an experiment myself. So, unfortunately, that one may not work out. But it's funny, aviation is a small community. When I got talking to him, he was down in the St. Louis area in the early 90s doing some flying, and so was I. We know some of the same people. He knows some United pilots. I know some American pilots. One of the guys I know, a buddy of mine, he was just talking to you this morning. So it is a small world, and especially in aviation, it's a small world. Really, you start talking to any pilot after 5-10 minutes, you really get into a conversation. You'll each know some similar people. I mean, there's probably 400,000 licensed pilots right now currently flying in the U.S. Pretty big number, but I don't know why. It just works out where you get to talking and you end up having people in common. So, anyways, flying back. It's nice just to get out and fly. I don't get to fly very much. I always let my kids fly. Got 15 minutes to go. So, should take about 2 gallons of gas. Another thing we talked about are these aviation gas gauges. I mean, I filled it up to the very top and flew it for under 2 hours, so that's less than 10 gallons. I have 22 gallons usable. So that's kind of what you go on, because these gas gauges, they show full, and then also they'll show almost empty forever. And you fill it up, and you still have 10 gallons of gas left, and they're showing empty. So I'm still showing quarter tanks. And I only need a couple gallons to get home, so it shouldn't be a big deal. Tell you what, though, if I had traveled all the way to the west coast of California to see that plane, hey, you guys fell over. You been drinking? I would have been really upset had I bought an airline ticket or traveled and done all that stuff. That would have been pretty upsetting. So glad I only had to fly 20 minutes. Wasn't that big a deal. Like I said, it still might be a good airplane. It might just have a paint cracking problem. We will see. All right, folks, we got the camera in hand now. Going at, you see that, 2,400 feet. That's another point I want to make. A lot of people fly around. Everybody goes to 3,000 feet, right? Oh, it's a nice round number. Let's all go to 3,000 feet. Well, then everybody's at 3,000 feet. A lot more likely to get into a midair collision. So I always pick 2,400, 2,700, 3,300. If you're less than 3,000 feet above the ground, you don't have to fly a set VFR cruising altitude. If you're above 3,000 feet above the ground, well, then if you're east, you go even plus 500. West, you go... No, east, you go odd plus 500. People out east are odd. And west, you go even plus 500. and that way we miss each other. But when you're down low like this, like a lot of VFR flying happens, it's a little different. Check out some of these lakes here. This is Pistaki Lake, Fox Lake. Anyone from the northwest suburbs of Chicago might recognize some of these lakes. Take a look at some of our gauges here. We got oil temperature, oil pressure looking good. Notice the oil temperature. Hopefully you can see that. My screen is not on my camera. Notice how it's a little to the left? Usually it's straight up and down, but when it gets colder in the winter, that's what happens. A little view off the right side. Check out those fall colors. This isn't the most vibrant they've been, but it's pretty good. We had some rain and it kind of cleared them out a little bit. Looking out front. Show you where we are on the map here. You guys can see that. That's us, that little airplane. Notice how I look like a jet.
Traffic, Cherokee 93 Romeo is entering a left downwind for runway 11.
And here's our route back home. Here's a little flight we just did, not far, just like 33 miles. All right, guys, making more progress. Here we are on the map. Here's us right there. Going here. I don't know if I've showed you guys my Stratus. Just a few $100. I think it was $250. They take the little Raspberry Pi, they put it in a box, package it, they strap a battery to it. It's been a really good unit. And that gives us all the traffic information, like this guy right here. He's 1,000 feet below us. And he's, yeah, there's his number and everything. Isn't that cool? Totally see where the traffic is. So it's a Stratus, I think is what it is, not the Stratus. Stratus is more expensive. This does the same thing for a lot less money. Got some new construction going on down here. Ooh, big houses. Holy cow, look at those things. Probably too far away for you guys to see. All right, guys, there's Lake in the Hills Airport right down there. Here over in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. This is a pretty busy place. Lots of planes on the ground. We made our call. We're 2,400 feet. We're about 500 feet above traffic pattern altitude. There's a guy on the runway right now. I don't know if you'll be able to see him right by that intersection. Made our call, told more we're flying at 2,400 so everyone knows about us. My airport's about 5 miles from here, so I'm going to switch frequencies now.
Driving Cherokee 18 Echo left base 36 climb.
And had a good view of that runway. Almost built a hangar over there. Had it all approved. And they changed the deal and wanted us to pay for a ramp extension that was ours to pay for, but they were going to own it. So we got out of that. What should we do? We could do a power off approach. Oh, that was awful. Sorry about that. It's called a heterodyne. When two people talk on the same frequency at the same time, you get nasty noises. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go right to flaps 20. I like
got a 32 mile left base runway 34.
In the colder months, I like to keep power on. I don't like shock wheel in my engine, so I'll put extra flaps out. I might even put 30 flaps in right now, like landing flaps, turning base. Oh, that smoke's telling me I might have a little bit of a tailwind. Supposed to be a direct crosswind on the ground. Landings traffic, Cessna 154 is left base 13 landings. What I've done is, oh, you've fallen again, you drunken people. That thing's not going to stick. It's going to happen again too, sorry. What is this, amateur hour? I'll fix it. Landings traffic, Cessna 154 is on final 13 landings. There you go. Got it wedged up against the window now. We're on final, runway 13, got it made. I still have power, and like I said, I'm trying to keep heat on my motor. A little bit fast, so I'll have to bleed off that energy. Oh, flock of birds. I'm all about killing birds today for some reason. Power's at idle, slide it on in. Now we just hold it off and bleed that energy. Bleed it, bleed it, bleed it. Get that nose up nice and high. Ooh, that was a nice one. Let the nose down now. So that nose was up the whole time till just now. We will easily make the turnoff. Flaps up, lean it out a little. That is it. All right, guys, well, thank you for coming along on this little flight today. Going to check out a possible new airplane. I think the search continues, most likely. Most likely, we're still looking. But we appreciate you watching. Give us a little thumbs up or a comment or a like or something. From what I understand, the algorithm on YouTube loves all of those types of things. So, yeah, let us know. Airplane ideas are always welcome. Sure, we'll get some comments from my buddy Bill Barkley down in Texas. He's been on the airplane lookout for me. So, yeah, keep the conversation going. I read all the comments. And it's COVID right now. I have nothing else to do. So let me know what you think. I do think a Citabria might be something that'd be fun to do, though. Just cheap, fun, upside-down stuff. I'd love to make some aerobatic videos for you guys. I think that'd be a lot of fun. There's my hanger. Gotta get lined up and put it away. All right, thanks a lot.